Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to part 2 of the Song of Sire. Last part ended very lewdly, I shall put it. We're going to continue from here. I don't know where we are. If I had to guess, it looks like some sort of auditorium from a college or a uni. Yor is determined to talk to him today. Right. I actually can't remember too much about this, it's been a while since I last played it, but I'm willing to get back into it and learn more about it. So, load here. Let's see where it takes us. Just as I said, Yor's determined to talk to him today. Nothing will happen as long as she hesitates, it will only prolong her suffering. The time has come to show courage once again. Yor's fourth period on on Thursdays is biology. This is her one chance to see Fuminari. As a required course with many students, the lecture is held in a large hall that can seat well over 200, but the room is usually only half full. It is rarely difficult for Yor to find the seat she wants. My bad. Yor prefers to sit near the centre, where it is easiest to hear the professor. Most of the students congregate in this area for the same reason. Fuminari usually sits beside her, although given the ambiguous state of their relationship, she knows better than to take this for granted. Still, she tries to save a seat whenever possible. The classroom is uncrowded today, so Yor is able to set her bag on the seat next to the without an unread window. I've just gotten better over time. Like, woo! Bag on the seat next to her without inconveniencing anyone. But when the professor arrives at the usual time to start class, there is still no sign of Fuminari. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Yor scans the room oh god, not again. Furtively. I'm sorry, these words are probably easy as shit. Futurively. There, sure. Fuminari is there, sitting alone in the far back corner. Did he miss Yor when he came in? No, he couldn't have, and besides, no serious student would willingly sit so far away from the front. Feeling miserable, Yor slides her back over to herself. Ah, you chaser, you're barking up the wrong tree here, love. Fuminari don't want none of you. He is a hopefully legal girl at home, who he only cares for. Fuminari is out the door the moment class ends. Yor barely manages to catch up to him before he disappears down the hallway. What she said. Fuminari jerks at the sound of his name. You would think she just screamed at him. I took the chicken out. What? He turns to her and asks reluctantly. Now that they are face to face, Yor is painfully aware of how much weight Fuminari has lost. His sunken eyes and protruding cheekbones are a far cry from the features familiar to her. She wonders whether he's under a lot of stress, or perhaps not getting enough nutrition. Maybe it's both. Well, considering the only nutrition he eats is literal shit, I'm not surprised he looks as ragged as he does. He definitely looks more tense than he should, afraid even though of what she can't imagine. His eyes move relentlessly from point to point, and he refuses to look Yor in the eye. It hurts to see Fuminari in this way. What could have changed him so? Today she reminds herself, rekindling the flame of courage in her heart. Is that it? You finished? I want to talk to you about something. Do you have some time? The courtyard is empty and silent. No one is willing to sit and chat in the cold November air. So what is it? I'm edgy edgelord, man. I eat shit for breakfast. He kind of does. Yor almost blurts the question, but managed to keep her composure. You've been acting strange lately. I'm worried about you. Well, a lot's happened. He smiles like it's nothing, but even that seems forced. He's even standing precisely one pace farther away from her than he used to. Is that really all? What more do you want? Goddamn bitch, leave me alone. You managed to keep from flinching at the harshness of his tone. It's like you're struggling with something. The note on her lips was literally just another way of going ugh. Rather than answer, Fuminori grinds his toe into the dead grass at his feet, fearing that her determination might flag. Yo lets the words come out as they may. It's like there's a terrible weight on your shoulders and it's slowly breaking you. Breaking bad. That's how you look to me. Oh really? Fuminori mutters through his clenched teeth. No longer trying to deny it or change the topic. This is an even clearer signal of rejection than his prior evasiveness. But your determination is strong. The determination is strong with this one. The bitch won't back down. Today at least she won't back down. It's times like these, she implores, trying to convey the sincerity of her feelings for him, that you need your friends. I feel really bad about your parents. But you're not alone. And you have Koji, and Omi, and you have me. Yoko no longer stop her words pouring from her lips. She fears that if she does not unleash her feelings now, they will be lost forever. I think we can help you, so you don't have to deal with this all by yourself. Even if we can't do anything, just talking to us might make you feel better. I want to help you. We all do. So please tell me. Stop it! I like how the music just cuts out, doesn't feel... It's like, stop it! Silence. Fuminori shouts, silencing yours entreaty. Sorry, again. She promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression is terrible enough to shatter her resolve. I like that guitar riff, I like that bit of song there. The look in his eyes is not anger or any other warm-blooded emotion. It is hate. Murderously cold hate. Come to think of it, I never gave you an answer, did I? He remembers. He remembers, and still he has treated her so coldly. That is all the answer she needs. If his words stab any deeper, she might very well die. I never saw you in any special way before. When you asked me out, I wasn't sure how to respond. I didn't know how I really felt about you then. Fuminori? But now I can give you an answer. I've had plenty of time to think about it. To think it over, you know. How long has it been? How actually long have you thought about this for? Just to be clarified, you probably haven't thought about it, you just want to tell the bitch to fuck off. But, I'm sorry I keep calling her a bitch, she's probably lovely. But I'm just saying this from the perspective of Fuminori. I'm assuming he constantly keeps thinking she's a nagging bitch. I mean, I am playing as him, so I might as well try and think through his mind of seeing fucking blood cut walls and eating shit. This game's fucking weird, man. This game's fucking weird. Yeah, I doubt he's actually thought this over for like, however long it's been, like a few months maybe? I hate you! I hate you. I can read that one. Hang on. Tsukuba. I think that's Tsukuba. I hate you, Tsukuba. I don't even want to look at you. Don't cry, Yo tells herself, but it's too late to stop the tears pouring from her eyes. I suppose it's too much to hope I never see you again. We do go to the same school, so just make this the last time you speak to me, okay? Your voice makes me sick. as well as everything else around her, I can see. How can you be so cruel, Yo whispers in shock and despair. His goofy ass grin! To which Fuminori twists his lips into a malevolent smile. You really should try thinking for yourself once in a while. I bet it was Koji and Omi's idea, wasn't it? Well, you can play love all you want, but leave me out of it. That's all Yo can take. Even after shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry. Any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. So she runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard with Fuminori's cold smile at her back. That was a goofy ass smile, to be fair. Omi was the first to catch sight of Yo and Fuminori leaving for the courtyard. Reluctant to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, she and Koji ended up watching the whole thing from the shadows. That asshole. Throughout the exchange, Omi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. Knowing her temper, Koji kept firm hold of her arm until the end. If he hadn't, she might have very well done it. Fuminori leaves Yo. I thought Yo left Fuminori. Didn't she scamper off? His every step seeming to take an act of willpower. Koji sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste of his mouth will not go away. What's wrong with him? Even Koji cannot forgive Fuminori's treatment of Yo. However, the first thing that he feels is confusion, not anger. That's fair. I remembered I actually had a friend once over. He kind of had like a bad boy moment, and I was just utterly bewildered. I didn't feel angry at him, I was just more confused at like, why have you suddenly changed like this? But hasn't he been like this for like 3 months or something? Like, kind of distant? I'm surprised I haven't noticed sooner, honestly. Feels like this has had a long time coming. Koji has known Fuminori since long before college. Fuminori was never this cruel before. There is no question now that the accident changed him. Are you just gonna let this go? I don't want to, but what can we do? Something besides watch, Omi shouts, her face red with fury. I won't be satisfied until I give him a piece of my mind. Independent woman! Yeah! We love independent women in our video games. Thank you, Nitro Plus. You really know how to write your feminine characters. I don't know why I said that. I needed something to say before I drank the tea, okay. That won't make Tsukuba feel better. But it'll make me feel better. Never mind, you're a bitch, you're thinking about yourself. Yo and Omi are best friends, just like Koji and Fuminori. In fact, it was the relationship between Koji and Omi that brought the other two together. Omi's anger is only natural. Fair. I'm going to talk to him alone. You don't have to come. Are you serious? Take care of Yo for me, will you? She's probably really hurt. She'll need someone to be nice to her after she's done crying. Wait, shouldn't we switch jobs? You know... Pardon me. I bet that. And I was going to start reading, but she seemed like she was having a blast, so I didn't want to interrupt her. You know how I am. If I try to confront her, I'll end up making it worse. Yeah, you've got a point. Hey! Anyway, just go easy, okay? Nah, she ain't going easy on Fuminori. He's a bastard. Ending the conversation before Omi's mood gets any worse, Koji heads off to find Yo. Oh, yes. It feels like this was made in some like really silly 3D engine. That's not drawn. That's not hand-drawn animation. Surely not. That's just, that feels like, I can't make a, I can't make a reference, but it looks goofy, like some old 3D game. Kind of like that Jurassic Park one, one AVGN reviewed, where it's like, does a mini driver do the fucking voice? I don't know, it just reminds me of that old, like, style 3D. I feel awful, miserable, but also refreshed. I've finally crossed the line. I knew it would come crashing down like this sooner or later, having become unable to feel anything but disgust for other people. There was no way I could hope to maintain the relationships I'd had before the accident. Today's incident will definitely get back to Koji Inami, and everyone will be convinced I've had a major change of character. Honestly, I don't care anymore. Should that be one word? I don't know. I just thought those two make one word. At least I probably won't be committed for this. I just need to avoid acting any stranger than I already have. If this puts a rift between me and the others, good. The thought of all the stress I'll avoid brings a smile to my lips. I'm fed up with them sticking their noses in my life. It's like they don't care that they make my gut turn just by being near me. I've been terrified of them until now, but today I struck fear into one of them. In that sense, it's something of a relief, but I'm not entirely without remorse for what happened. A person I just demolished with a verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb. A bit extreme, isn't it? Used to be my friend, yeah. Even if its senses don't believe it, my mind accepts the theory. I don't have any particular grudge against Yo herself, and I didn't want to hurt her. So he does have some character still in him. In retrospect, perhaps I should have just ignored her outright. Yo was an attractive girl. I certainly didn't think badly of her, to be honest, though I was annoyed when Koji and Omi tried to stick us together. It felt like they were using us as an entertainment, and Yo seemed totally oblivious to the fact it was dancing to their tune. But she was dancing to their tune. Her cluelessness was irritating. Still, I knew that none of them meant any harm. Back then I didn't have any reason to hurt others, just to get my way. If having a casual relationship with you would keep our circle of friends together, I was willing to make that compromise. Now, however, there is no room in my heart for such forbearance. If merely talking to someone is an ordeal, then how can I be expected to show them kindness? Well, you could ask Fluttershy, I'm just saying. These ruminations have left me exhausted. I want to return to Sire as soon as possible, but thinking about the packed trains and crowded downtown streets between here and home saps my spirit. What a sap! Catching a sight of a nearby bench, I sit down and close my eyes to the horrors of the world. I can't do anything about the stink of the noise, but at least I can calm my nerves through enough to rest. Right. So he doesn't feel he does feel somewhat bad. That's a bit of character. The development. Oh shit. Yeah, I just wanted to get a bit more light on my face. The camera's looking a bit goofy. When I regained consciousness in the T University Hospital ward, the world was as dark as it is now. Just like my screen. I had not yet recovered my sight, even though my eyes and optical nerves were undamaged. It must have been an after effect of the accident. Blindness was a shock, but now I know that my suffering was nothing. After all, my senses of hearing, touch, taste and smell were all fine at the time. The real horror began when my sight returned. One small mercy was that I was able to come to terms with the accident and my neurosurgery while still blind. I panicked when I first saw the nightmarish hospital and the blood-curdling shapes of the doctors and nurses, but I soon guessed the cause. It chills me to think of what might have happened if I had recovered my sight along with my consciousness, suddenly awakening in what can only be described as hell. I would no doubt have lost my mind instantly. Soon my disorder spread out to... Jesus. Pardon me there, folks, I must have had a bit of a phlegm at the back of my talking passage. Yeah, that's the official science term. Talking passage. Soon my disorder spread to the other senses: touch, taste and smell. As it turns out, sight exerts tremendous influence over the other four. The taste of my food, the feel of my bedsheets, the fragrance of my get-well flowers all became as unbearably foul as my eyes said they should be. Eventually, when even the doctors' voices became unrecognizable as human, I decided to kill myself. I didn't believe for a second that I could live in this new world. At least, not until I met Saya. One night, while thinking of a painless way to die, I found myself succumbing to sleep, drifting between the nightmares in my dreams and the nightmare of reality. I didn't notice her enter my room. Oh, hello there. You've got menacing eyebrows. The next thing I knew, there was a face staring down at me from next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus or slime or earthworm-like feelers. It had smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose, all things I had never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human and positively glowing with beauty. All one exasperated sound. Oh! Dang it, Bobby, I've told you not to hang over my bed sheets. I told you not to put anime girls over my bed after a traumatic incident. I sighed in admiration, savouring the first piece of joy since regaining my sight. She had not expected such a reaction, apparently. Aren't you afraid of me? She asked. Looking at the clock, I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning. No time for a young girl to be alone in the hospital. Perhaps she expected me to mistake her for a ghost. But I would not have cared if she had been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend. Who are you? What are you doing here? I'm Saya. I'm looking for my dad. I assumed that she was the daughter of a late-shift doctor or another patient. It was unusual, but not unthinkable, for such a girl to be wandering around the hospital. It's no fun if you're not scared. Wait, I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned around that I realised I hadn't thought of what to say next. Well, her beautiful eyes drew me in, healing my soul to its core. Through the white haze clouding my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence. I shouldn't do this to a girl, but you're the only one I can ask. No longer concerned with the propriety, I let the words come out as they willed. Will you let me hold your hand? Damn, this broke up the fucking Riz!
Hey babe, have you heard of OD plays?
Saya looked confused at first, but then she smiled like she just found a new toy. Her smile was brighter than my memories of the sun. I just found that line brighter than the memories of the sun. Very funny. You're strange, she said, holding out her slender white hand. No one's asked me anything like that before. Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes, I placed my palm against hers. I could feel her human warmth and the softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back on the joyful tears I shed then, I know that this is the moment I was saved from my fate. This is the first time in weeks that I've touched someone and felt them as human. Girl, I can't touch anyone else. I was in an accident, and as a side effect of the surgery, I can't see people as human anymore. How mysterious. You're interesting, she said, winding her fingers gently around mine. Can I come back tomorrow night? Yes, of course. But are you sure it's okay? Don't worry, she replied. The night belongs to me. Oh, isn't she swell? I'm sure she's not going to be evil or anything. She's just swell. And so our rendezvous began. I can read that one. I can read rendezvous. Why there's a fucking Z in it, I'll never understand, but I know it says rendezvous. Rendezvous. That's what it should be called, rendezvous. It's a rendezvous. Saya came to my room every night at 3 AM, skillfully taking advantage of the duty nurse's shift change. I was astonished to learn that she was living inside the hospital. It's so big that I never run out of places to hide, she said, answering my surprise with a nonchalant smile. She had been living in the suburbs with her father, she told me, until one day he'd suddenly stopped coming home. After she had tired... That makes sense. After she had tired of waiting. You tell me, is that a wrong sentence? Because it feels wrong. After she had tired of waiting, Saya had decided one night to sneak into the hospital where he'd worked, and there she lived for over 2 weeks. Over 2 months, my bad. I assumed it was going to say weeks, but no. Over 2 months searching for her whereabouts. All the while. Don't you have to go to school? No, Dad taught me everything I need to know. I'm really smart. She was a strange girl. On the one hand, she had looked and acted like a child. On the other, she was remarkably self-reliant, and at times exhibited a sharp intelligence and a deep knowledge that many may have found unsettling. I didn't care. Saya was the only other human in a world gone mad. Her existence meant far more to me than the standards of society. Aren't you worried you might get caught? Nope, I don't have to worry about food here, and it's a lot more fun. It's a lot more fun than staying in Dad's house by myself. I looked through the patients list and found the ones who have mental problems. As you do. Like, nurse, give me a list of patients, but not just all the patients, but ones who have serious mental issues. Got Ryan Alderson on the first floor. He'll do. Saya continued grinning mischievously. Ayo, she said doki doki. Whoa, oh my god, foreshadowing for 14 years later? What? Sometimes I sneak into their rooms late at night and scare them, even if they raise a fuss. Raise a fuss. No one believes what mental patients say. They just brush it off as a bad dream. Her confession reminded me that the hospital was famous for its ghost stories. Who could have imagined that there was actually a real girl impishly roaming these hallways? So she's just fucking with them. She's just fucking with mental patients. Hey, I'm a bitch. Doc, there was this fucking girl here like 3 AM. I'm not like, yeah, sure there was, you fucking wingnut. Oh, that's bad. That's great. That's funny. That's a lot of things apparently applying to me. So that's why you came to my room the first time? Yeah, sorry, are you mad? While her pranks were hardly praiseworthy, I couldn't bring myself to scold her for the very thing she had brought us together. for the very thing that had brought us together, I think. You shouldn't do it anymore. Will you come talk to me instead? Yeah, that's more fun for me too. That's more fun for me to talk with people than fucking with mental patients. With extreme care, I was able to conceal my sensory disorder? What the shit? Is that meant to be him? It was glaringly obvious that the doctors had nowhere to cure me, and the fact I had undergone a... oh wait, are those the bed sheets? Those are probably the bed sheets. I genuinely thought like his body was like ripped open. A lot of the CGs in this game do just look like Japanese gore grind album covers. These would be awesome. Oh, what's that one? Oh, it was like a type of weird fucking music. It's like something core. Like, it's like high-pitched Japanese music with like horrendously like thrashing and heavy thrashing instrumentals in the back. I forgot the name of it. But they do have a lot of like gory covers like this. It was glaring obvious that the doctors had nowhere to cure me, and the fact I had undergone a still experiment procedure made me even more cautious. As a medical student, it was easy for me to imagine how the doctors would react if they discovered that I was exhibiting such unusual side effects. I was not about to become a guinea pig, a mere specimen to be examined with clinical detachment. And so I hid my discomfort and loathing behind a mask of normalcy, convincing the doctors that any signs of stress were merely a result of hospitalization. Saya was my support, looking forward to her nightly visits gave me the strength to endure my daily torture. Hope can make an enormous difference in a patient's progress. With the aid of my secret nurse, I recovered at a pace that left the doctors stunned. As you do. On the last night before my release, I summoned my courage and asked her, "Are you going to stay here forever?" Yeah, I couldn't learn anything about my dad, but it's not like I have anywhere else to go. I guess I'll stay here as long as I can hide. In other words, there was nothing keeping her there. Why not stay with me? I asked timidly. The question took all the courage I had. Pog. Huh? My family's gone, so I have plenty of room. You won't need to hide, and it's not a bad place to live. You want me to live with you? I was too afraid to ask her what she thought of her, so I hastily offered a deal. In exchange, I'll help you look for your father. I'll find him no matter what. I think that's gonna be hard, Saya said, looking a little embarrassed. He's dead. Alright, I'm gonna propose a new theory. I don't actually know if I said it last time, but new theory. Only people who have suffered such traumatic events like this to make them see that world, only people who have seen that shit and are seeing the stuff around them can only see the other humans who have also witnessed something like that. So I believe Saya has seen something very similar to what happened to Fuminori's parents happen to her dad. That's a theory. It's probably wrong, and it's probably way stretched out than it should be, but I am assuming that's what it might be. They said looking a little embarrassed. Dad probably did something bad to have had to leave the hospital. We can't get the police involved. You have to be as discreet as possible. I'll do whatever it takes. Unable to control myself, I finally spoke the truth. I can't be apart from you. Now, Fuminori's the needy little bitch. At first she looked bewildered, but after a few moments of silence she said, "Give me a little time." That night she left my room earlier than usual. Well, shit. No riz anymore. He got 0 riz. On the day of my release I managed to smile as I accepted the hideous, foul-smelling, celebratory bouquet. The flesh beasts, calling themselves Koji, Omi and Yo, came to pick me up. Though they had come to see me many times during my stay, it never got easier to see my friends changed so horribly. My sudden tears of despair drew suspicion, but I managed to explain them away as tears of joy. Oh, you kidster, you. What? While we walked to Koji's car, I looked desperately for Saya amid the grotesque scenery. Even as we drove away, I kept watching the hospital fade into the distance, praying for a last glimmer of hope. But Saya never appeared. After Koji and the others dropped me off, I paused a while to regard my surroundings. I had lived my entire life on this block, in this house. There was no other place that I could call home. But nothing was as I remembered. As I walked up the path to the front door and took in the yard where I had spent my childhood, I could feel those memories being defiled by the twisted, festering shapes around me. Inside the house I found nothing familiar, nothing to offer me comfort and warmth. What I had once called home was now a whole other world. I have no home, I whispered, with a smile of self-pity. There was one last stop to make, one last nail to hammer into my coffin. Heyo, what are you doing here? I stepped into the room that had cradled a... Why can't I read this? I stepped into the room that cradled me from childhood. The walls were plastered with human entrails, and the bed a tangled mess of worm flesh. But none of that mattered. There, curled up on the bed like an abandoned cat, was Saya. As I stood there in shock, she looked up at me in a tiny, weak voice, said, "Can I really stay?" "Hell yeah, you can. Now make me a sandwich."
What? It's a joke! It's a joke!
I responded by sweeping her into my arms and bracing her tightly so that she would not escape. Saya did not resist. Chill. When she arrives at the Sakisaka house, Omi takes a deep breath to calm herself. Her anger does not vanish entirely, of course, but at least now she can hear herself think. While waiting for a response from the intercom, she looks over a patch of yard that she can see from outside the gate. Even Omi isn't normally one to complain about other people's housekeeping, but this is going too far. No? Ah, I was thinking, what is she annoyed about, and I didn't realise she was about to say it right after. The grass is growing wild and there are piles of dead leaves scattered everywhere. It doesn't just look untended, it looks like an uninhibited ruin. It's a nature reserve. It's still light out, but every window has its storm shutters tightly sealed. Omi guessed that they've been closed since morning. What kind of life is Fuminori leading? Even if he's living alone, he can't neglect his housework forever. And it is just her imagination, or is some other why? I actually haven't been too bad reading, I like to think. And it oh my god, I always have those one sentences now and again that fuck me over. I actually have one clip saved from when me and my friend completed Yumi and Her. I didn't want to mention Yumi and Her again, but I felt like it was appropriate because I'm fucking this line up. There's this really one simple line and I couldn't read it. And
Name and address withheld.
okay. And my friend, who I think is dyslexic, had to read it for me, or at least lead me on the right track to get it, to read it. You know what? Fuck it, I'll show yous. A collar? They say you need a collar for... Oh god. It's too late to be reading the shit. They say you need a collar for... Ah! Shut up! They say you need a... They say you need a... Ah! Yeah, so this isn't new for me, if you can tell. And it is just her imagination. Fuck me! And is it just her imagination, or does something stink like rotten meat? It couldn't be coming from the yard, could it? There! Fuck! Finally! Done it! There's still no response, so she presses her buzzer a second time, and a third, and a fourth. Finally, after this has gone on for over 10 minutes, Omi loses her patience and opens the cover of the intercom. As she expected, the power has been disconnected. Alright. Wait, so how was it buzzing? And does it buzz? I don't know how these things work. I don't know what, like, a block of flats or whatever looks like. But does it still buzz if there's power disconnected? Well, whatever. Perhaps Fuminori has a good reason for shutting out the world, but Omi can only see it as a lack of respect for others. Her anger rekindled, she pushes the gate open and stomps through the yard to the front door. Given the state of his intercom, she doubts that Fuminori will respond to a knock, so Omi decides to just open the door and go in shouting, and the door is locked. And if the door is locked, she'll just have to. Surprisingly, the doorknob turns easily in her hand. Then she enraged Omi finds herself throwing the door open wider than she intended. Alright, that's actually cool, that. Like a reflection in the floor. I like that. Her nostrils are instantly assaulted by a choking stench. What is that smell? Smell like you farted. As Omi stands petrified on the threshold, the cowbell hanging on the inside of the door chimes loudly a moment later. What the fuck? Welcome home! Omi can't believe her ears. The voice she just heard could not have been human, yet its intentions were too complex for any animal she can imagine. Is someone there, you think? Well, not someone, but something likely. After that voice, she calls out to the end of the hallway from which the voice came. There is no response. Instead, she hears the sound of something soft and wet flopping its way deeper into the house. The fuck? Finding it difficult to place a meaningful image to the voice she just heard, Omi stares blankly at the empty... God damn it. Vestibule. I'm sorry, that's you're getting vestibule there. There's nothing there. Not even Fuminori's shoes, which can only mean that he's still outside somewhere wearing them. The house should be empty, but then what was that voice just now? Alright, this is getting fucking creepy. Oh, damn. No, thank you. No, thank you. Her anger has vanished, as if it were never there. Nevertheless, Omi sets foot into the hallway, leaving the door open so that the cowbell won't ring. The floor creaks, setting her nerves on edge. Omi isn't sure why she's acting like a burglar, but something tells her to make a little noise as possible. The potency of the sink inside the house makes the whiff she caught outside pale in comparison. It's sickening, like rotten fish guts. Has food been left to spoil in the kitchen? She hears a bubbling sound up ahead. Stepping gingerly onto the creaking floorboards, Omi makes her way to the end of the hallway. She finds rooms to both sides of her, one lit, the other dark, and she chooses to look into the lit room. Alright, normal, seems good, chill, I like it. Let's just leave, just get out of there. Get out of there while you still can. It's the kitchen, lit by what must be the only window in the house not covered by a storm shutter. The sound she heard was the pot boiling. on the stove, and on the chopping board next to it lie a butcher's knife and some half-diced carrots. A perfectly normal household scene, with the light of the setting sun making everything the colour of decomposing fruit. I'm struggling now. I need to wonder how long the scene lasts for, because I'm probably going to end this part roughly when the scene ends. Something is wrong. Who was cooking here? We need to cook. And where did they go? Is anyone here? Omi calls, regretting it immediately as she realises that her voice is shaking. As her words echo vainly through the silent house, she begins to feel foolish and defenceless. Suddenly she feels something cold seeping through her. What? No! No, 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 no! I don't exactly know what a pantyhose is, but I do not want to think. Might have to cut this. Might have to cut this. I'm not going any further than this if it's going where I think it is. I'm sorry. Fingertips come away covered with a vicious olive green slime, like the filthy water from a tank long clogged with algae and dead fish. The whole floor is covered with it. It must be the source of the stench. Omi now wishes that she had worn her shoes inside. Yeah. Manners be damned. Yeah. I was going to say something, but music's fucking weird as fuck. I love it. When she looks back ruefully the way she came, she realises that the current position is not visible from the entrance. This kitchen must be where that strange voice came from. The next room is probably the den. As she expected from the closed storm shutters, it's pitch black inside. Omi wants nothing more than to flee this house, but that would mean turning back into the darkness, and that she simply cannot bring herself to do. Okay, very nice. Moved by some irrational compulsion, Omi sets foot into the den. It's too dark to see anything, and the stink is far worse than before. Far worse than before, my bad. She slides her hand along the wall, feeling for the light switch, finding it much sooner than she expected. She flips it on like it's her last hope. The colours. Yeah. Cool. The colours, so many colours. It's just trip. She had the perfect 30! The purple of entrails, the brown of rotten meat, the crimson of flesh, blood, the yellow of fat. These colours, the more that cannot be described, cover every inch of a room. It's a maddening array. The colours say all that needs to be said about the painter's hatred, malice, and insanity. No! No, 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 no. Okay, that's where I might have to fucking cut it. No! No! Not again! Ah! Fucking stop. Stop it. No. No. I'm not cut. We're cutting. I'll be cutting. Probably. Omi's leg gives out from the shock, sending her to the floor. Slime immediately soaks through her jeans, its cold entrails creeping up her legs, crotch, and her neck. Damn! Her hand flies to her neck, where it is greeted by another drop of chilly slime. Above her, something is dripping down on her head. Making perhaps the worst decision of her life, Omi looks up. The predator clinging to the ceiling, poised to leap upon its prey. She sees it in every detail. Whoa! What? Her mouth and nose are sealed before she can scream. Her belly is torn open as something enters to feast on her innards. Is that Saya? No, Saya would never do such a thing. She's just a little girl in the hospital. I shouldn't say little girl considering what happened last part, but she's innocent. You're just ignorant.
That's
You're
ignorant.
just being ignorant. But by the time she feels any of this, Omi has already gone mad. Gone mad? I thought she was dead. Oh, what? I bit the bullet and tried to take the train, but the rush hour crowds were so bad that I had to get off halfway and walk. I'm running pretty late. Is Saya worried? I hope she's not mad. Oh, don't worry. I think she's having a wonderful time. A wunderbar time. When I enter the yard, I realise that the front door has been left wide open. Light from the living room is seeping out into the hallway, and I hear what sounds like someone smacking their lips. There's also a tantalising fragrance in the air. Is it Saya? I consider calling out to her, but I decide to enter in silence instead. Something smells strange. Though not unpleasant, aroma is quite soothing, in fact. It reminds me of Saya's hair. Yeah, all them colours. It's just green here. At first, I am surprised by what I see in the living room. The floor is covered with what looks to be some kind of grass. Probably the source of a herb-like smell, and there are fruit or vegetable-like balls of varying sizes scattered everywhere.
Saya.
She's just having some slime. That's all she's having, she's innocent. It's Robin Williams as Flubber. Saya? Gah. Saya turns around, her eyes wide with surprise. Then... She then looks away sheepishly like a child caught at some prank. What are you eating? This is, well, she stammers, so flustered that I should feel bad for sneaking up on her. Remembering that she has never eaten in front of me before, I realise that this must be quite embarrassed. She must be quite embarrassed. Can I have one? One what? It's literally just a pile of slime. Can I have one? Dig in, get yourself a spoon.
So thick, smooth, and creamy.
I scoop up the closest fruit thing and pop it in my mouth, ignoring Saya's attempt to wave me off. It has a strange texture, soft and pliable, like a peach or a pear. When I bite into it with my back teeth, a succulent juice fills my mouth, combined with sharp fragrance. It's unlike anything I've ever tasted. How did you make this? What did you use? It wasn't hard, I just took it apart and melted it a little to make it easier to eat. It's practically raw. Ah. I pick up a different lump, this one consisting of fruity flesh around a hard core. Tearing a chunk off in my mouth, I find it has a similar taste to the last one. Hey, are you okay? That's what is that? Yeah, even I can eat this. Yeah, even I can eat this. In fact, it's good. Really? At first, Saya looks dumbstruck, but then she bursts out laughing. Guffaw, guffaw. So, this is what you like. Now I feel stupid for going to all that trouble. Is this what you always eat, Saya? Yeah. Oh, it's been a while since I've had one so big. I usually catch them in the nearby park. Oh, that's... I don't know what to make of this. There's an impressive nature preserve not too far from here. I've never heard about fruits like these growing here, but, well, of course, they only look like fruits to me. They're really something else. What could that be? Sorry, I already ate the best parts. What are the best parts? Maybe I should head over to r/cannibal and ask that question. That's okay, there's always next time, and now we can eat together.
Yeah, baby!
Eating together! Woo! Saya seems really happy. I'm happy too, of course. Eating with someone is much more fun than eating alone, and it makes the food taste better too. There's still plenty left. It'll keep chilled for 2 or 3 days, though it won't taste as good. Then we'd better start putting it away. Sealing the small fruit in Tupperware and the large ones in pots and bowls, Saya and I store the remaining food in the refrigerator thinking of tomorrow's dinner. Thinking of tomorrow's dinner fills me with anticipation. I feel that, little by little, I'm starting to regain the joy of living. The joy of creation. Saya will guide me. With her, I can live on. So, man's just become a cannibal. True scary stories, hospital edition. Why does it feel like a cutaway gag after what's just happened? Chapter 4, The Monster in the Hospital. A medical student relates his shocking experience, will you believe him or not? Stranger things. Fuck off, I hate that shit. Strange things started happening at the hospital around the end of last spring. It began with patients waking up in the middle of the night, screaming. They all spoke of terrifying nightmares, and many of them had to be sedated. Some patients even transferred to other hospitals because of it. The weird thing was that they'd all had exactly the same dream, a dream about some horribly disgusted monster staring down at them from their bedside. But the really strange stuff started happening after that. There used to be a lot of stray cats around campus looking for scraps from the students. One day the cats suddenly disappeared, and it wasn't that they'd stopped coming, it was more like they'd vanished from the area entirely. And then people stopped walking their dogs around. According to rumours, the dogs were refusing to go anywhere near the school. Eventually things started going missing in the hospital. Organs, to be precise. That's what she must have been feeding off, damn. Transplant organs kept disappearing from storage. People came close to losing their jobs over it, and it wasn't just 2 or 3 times that it happened. They tried to keep it from students, but we heard it was a lot worse than that. Who was it? Who was she? I didn't say her. People started saying that there was something living in the hospital. The janitors could find strange messes that could only have been made in the middle of the night, traces of something that had crawled down the hallway, or weird stains caused by something dripping through the ceiling. The late shift nurses talked about hearing strange noises on the same night, that patients woke up screaming. There's one last story you can never mention inside the hospital. One day the obstetrics, I think, department went crazy. They said that a newborn had disappeared in the night. If that were true, the police would have come and it would have been all over the news. But they say the big shots managed to make it all go away. It's just a rumour, of course. These strange incidents suddenly stopped towards the end of summer. Now there are almost no patients complaining of nightmares, and the cats have started coming back to campus. But still, what happened in the hospital that summer, even now just thinking about it gives me the creeps. So he must have been talking about Saya when when she was in the hospital, like pulling her mischievous pranks, being a ghost to the mental patients, as you do when you're hiding in a hospital. And the organs make sense because obviously she eats humans. And it's also bizarre now, because now she's actually got Fuminori eating fucking humans. And he likes it. That is so fucking queer, isn't it? Disgusted by all the rotting flesh and shit and hell he's surrounded with. And then actually someone kills someone, he eats the fucking flesh and guts, and he loves it. And well, he doesn't actually eat it, he thinks it's like some fruit slime or whatever, but oh, that is queer on a new level. Oh, damn. I don't know, end this part here. Been interesting. It's a shame that, is it Omi? I think Omi is the other female. I think Omi's dead. But we also have the other 2. I forgot their names as well. You're still around and the other dude. But yeah. This is getting more interesting by the day. But yeah, I don't really know how much to end it other than saying I enjoyed it, and I can't wait to keep playing more. So thanks for watching this if you did. You mustn't have anything else better to do with your time. But if you did watch it, thank you and goodbye. Until next time. I don't know how to end shit. Bleh!
Hey, hello there! If you'd like to watch another video, click here. And click here to subscribe for something new every so often. Please and thank you.